yes, I know it's still August, September, and already I'm showing you a Christmas ornament. Now, the reason I'm doing this, please bear with me, is because we collected these on our summer holiday. And every time we go on a summer holiday, we come back with a Christmas ornament. But this year we forgot. We didn't actually bring anything back. So I thought, how about turning this wonderful sea glass into a salt dough Christmas tree ornament, and I'm so pleased with it. It is so fun and so easy to make. Now, I know not all of you have got salt dough, so over here, if I can make the camera focus, it's still drying, is a button a button tree. Now, it worked really well with buttons too. I think it looks super cute. The only thing to remember is that buttons, for some reason, fall off a little bit more. The stones didn't fall off at all, so I had to glue some of those back in when I was finished. But the process is the same. You might just have to do a little bit of gluing. So anyway, let's get making some Seaglass Christmas tree ornaments. So let's quickly look at what you need to make these. You need a salt, flour and water to make salt dough. You need a cookie cutter, but obviously you could use a knife to cut it yourself, but cookie cutters really help. You need, in my case, I've used some wire for hanging, but this is optional. You can also poke holes into your ornament for hanging. Obviously, I've got tons of sea glass, which I've got from a holiday, but if you don't have sea glass, why don't experiment? Use some food colouring to colour your dough, and then use buttons. So these buttons, they were all free. I cut them off old shirts that we put, you know, that had broken or were worn and we couldn't use anymore or couldn't give away. So this is a really, really cheap way of making the same craft. Anyway, let's get started. So to make your salt dough, you need 2 parts flour. So I'm going to use this cup as a measurement. It doesn't matter what size your part is. It could be a small cup, a big cup, it could be a spoon, whatever. And 1 part of salt, and up to, not completely, up to 1 cup of water that you pour in slowly. Now I'm going to speed the video up at this point and just make the salt dough. If you want the slow version, look as mentioned in the links below. Okay, so we have a lovely dough, not too sticky, not too dry. If you've made it too sticky, don't worry about it. Just add a sprinkle of flour on top and make it unsticky. If you check my water cup, I haven't used it all, do you see? So sometimes I use more, sometimes a bit less. Anyway, I'm going to get a rolling pin now, and let's turn this into a tree. Right, so although I'm going to get this rolling in a minute, I actually want to get my my stones ready, and for that I'm going to have a quick look and see which ones make a rough tree shape, and then I'll get rolling and then we'll do the next bit. So my son also found this bit of I think it's quartz from a tree. I think it's quite shiny. I'm considering it, I don't know yet. I might use it as the star. Okay, so I've got a rough idea of how the tree will look. It's only rough, it doesn't have to be exact because you don't know yet. And now I'm going to roll out my dough to make a tree. Now I only need one little bit, because I'm only going to do a couple of these ornaments, not tons and tons, although you could make lots of them in lots of different, you know, you could have some with sea glass, some with beads, some plain, you know, whatever takes your fancy. Now this is about, I'd say, ½ centimetre thick, or maybe even 1 centimetre. Don't make it too thin, because if it's too thin it will just break, and you don't want that after all your hard effort. And also you don't want to waste all your sea glass. Now I'm going to get a little bit of wire for my hanger. So I've made it quite long. I'm going to just fold it in half. Now, like I say, you don't have to use a piece of wire like this. I just decided I wanted to do it a bit different this year. I'm going to give it a little twist around itself, and then I'm going to gently poke it into the top like this. Now I'm going to make it look sideways because I want the ribbon to then hang that way, so you can see it as a line, and like that there. Like I said, you can also get something sharp like a what's it called, a chopstick, and poke a little hole. That also works. Okay, so now I find that solid dough is a little bit hard to pick up once you've finished making your craft. So I think it is best if you now put it on a baking tray so that later you can let it dry either in the oven or outside, and it means you don't have to disturb it whilst it's starting to set. So I think I will use this sparkly bit at the top. I think it's quite cool. This is going to be my star. This is not actually Seaglass. This is, my son found that on a tree. It's the quartz. And now I'm going to very gently sort of start squeezing in these. Now don't push, it's a sort of a balance between squeezing too hard and changing the shape of your tree, and not hard enough and it later falling off. So can you see I'm trying to keep the shape as I push. I'm just going to roughly put in the big ones first, and then I'm going to get the little ones. Look, I've got a nice browny one here. I'm going to take the little ones afterwards to kind of fill in these gaps. In fact, like that, it's already quite sweet. I think it's already really lovely. You don't have to have too much Seaglass, but because I've got more, I'm going to push more in. And as I push it, see I'm holding the shape of the tree so it doesn't lose too much shape. Now can you see all these tiny pieces of Seaglass? We spent ages finding those, so I feel we need to use them. Some of them are really teeny weeny. Look at that one. Yep, we found all those on a big beach. This is such a nice holiday memory for me, and I'm going to obviously get the kids to make their own as well. A few more of those little ones. Really important that they're secure enough not to fall out once this is dried, although we are going to put a varnish over the top, and the varnish will also help kind of glue them in place a little bit. Let me put some more of the small ones in. Right, I think for me that is done. Now I'm going to let it dry. You can bake it in the oven at about 50 to 70 degrees C. You have to bake it really slowly because otherwise the salt dough expands and cracks, and you really don't want that happening. And also, once it's a bit more solid, I'm going to gently pick it up and turn it around so that the back of it can dry as well. That's really, really important. Okay, and you can let it dry in the sunshine if it's a hot day, and if it's a hot day it could dry in a day, but to be honest, or you can let it dry near a radiator, in which case it might take about a week. The important thing is you do keep turning it, and you do have to be patient. All right, so let's get that to drying, and in the meantime I'm going to do a couple of more and put them all together. Once a little bit hardened, it might be helpful to put them on a rack. That way the top and bottom gets dry thoroughly. So here it is out of the oven. Doesn't it look fabulous? Now, to be honest, you can leave it the way it is if you want to. I think it looks really great, but you can also varnish it. Now, the reason I'm going to varnish it is for two reasons. One is it's going to make the stones look really shiny, which I think is lovely. But also, to be honest, even though all my glasses stayed in the salt dough, it could fall out. Now this is just some random varnish I have. It's actually for Fimo, which is polymer clay. You could use some clear nail varnish. You could use whatever sort of varnish you've got lying around. I'm just using it because this is what I've got. And what the varnish will do, it will obviously brighten up the Seaglass because it'll look slightly more wet, but also it will go into all the little nooks and crannies down the side, and then hopefully prevent the glass from falling out over time, because to be honest, I'm expecting it to fall out over time. And this way it won't. And there you have your very own salt dough ornament. Now salt dough, because it's made from flour and salt, if you store it somewhere damp and it's unvarnished, you have to varnish both sides, but if it's somewhere damp, it can rot over time. It won't if you store it properly. So do put it away between some tissue papers, somewhere nice and dry, and you know, store it safely. Or, you know, as mentioned, you could turn it around once this is dried and then varnish the other side. But that, once it's dry, is your, oopsie, let's see if I can pick it up, Seaglass Christmas ornament. Oh, here we go, finished. Isn't that beautiful? Now remember, like, comment and subscribe to the channel, and hopefully we'll see you here again soon. Anyway, thanks for watching. Bye.